Hello, Niner Nation. My name is Corey, and I wanted to start this page because I wanted to connect with other like minded individuals and just create a forum that we could talk about our Niners. I've been a fan for over 30 years myself, back to the late Joe Montana, early Steve Young days. Being a left handed quarterback, I was a big fan of Steve Young, obviously. And then it kind of led me, due to my own injuries and whatnot, to become a doctor of physical therapy. So I can have a unique perspective on the Niners and also, what players are dealing with their rehab and whatnot. And that's part of the reason I wanted to hop on here today. I wanted to talk a little bit about Brock Purdy, the QB1 that ended the year for us. And on a high note, I know the injury was a rough one, but man, who could have expected it to go the way it did? With our basically our fourth, our third quarterback, I should say, and then eventually our fourth with Josh Johnson. But for Brock Purdy to step in and do as well as he did, it really makes me excited for the future with the everything we have built around him as well. A little bit about his surgery. I know there's been a lot of, I don't want to say misinformation, but misunderstanding maybe about the surgery, recovery time, that robotic looking brace that he's got on his arm. But basically, I want to talk a little bit about that. So he had what's called an ulnar collateral ligament repair, reconstruction, what have you, with an internal brace. And with that, it's a shorter recovery time than it would be from like a full Tommy John surgery. So his surgery was on March 10th. That puts him starting to throw around June 10th. Those are just guidelines. Some people will get there a little sooner, and some people will be a little bit longer. And then from there, he's going to probably be close to 100% around September 10th, which is right around the first week of the season. So I would expect him. It's going to be a challenge to be ready week one, but maybe by week two, week three, they start working him in a little bit. It all depends on how he responds to just getting back out there in a practice situation, in a game situation, as we get into August, late August, early September, and also having not had those reps, those practice reps during the off season, it's going to be hard for him to just jump right back into it. So who knows? Could be Sam Darnold, could be Trey Lance taking those first string snaps or in the off season and going into week one, but we will find out. That's the great thing about football, and it's right around the corner. We got the draft coming up, so football is here. A little bit more about that surgery. The brace that he's wearing, it's very common. A lot of people were saying it looked like a Terminator brace or a robotic arm or something like that. Simply put, it's just a range of motion brace. It's usually locked at about 90 degrees at the elbow, and that's usually for about the first week or so. And then what will typically do is you'll start to unlock it or set up parameters by the therapist where he can move it to about 60 degrees if all the way straight is 0, and then all the way flexed is 150 degrees. So he's stuck at about 90 degrees, and what that does is just kind of create more of an open space for that joint to kind of heal up. It's not right at the end of the joint range of motion in either direction, so it's kind of a loose, packed position for the joint, as we call it. And that just allows for also protection. So when he's walking around, he's got the brace on, people aren't going to bump into him or whatnot. But it's a very common brace. Just about every athlete that's ever had it done wears one of those. There's been, I don't even know, hundreds of thousands of athletes that have probably had that surgery. And he is currently rehabbing in Arizona with a baseball specializing physical therapist that specializes in baseball injuries, which is great. I think, myself as a former college baseball player as well, this injury is much more common in pitchers, but baseball, football, throwing mechanics, different, but not too far off. So anyways, I just wanted to hop on and talk a little bit about that. He'll be working on his range of motion for these first 6 weeks or so, which puts us around, the start of May or thereabouts. And then he'll start really getting into a little more of the strength. He's probably already doing some like wrist, finger, hand exercises, some shoulder, gentle exercises. I've read some stories that they're using some ankle weights on his wrist, and he's doing like some arm raises and stuff like that, while keeping that elbow in a protected position. So as far as his recovery, I think, with his age, 23, I think he's going to be, healing up really well. I don't think there's any ramifications long term, and he's also going to be able to really focus on just getting stronger and moving better. So really excited to see what comes from his rehab and all that, and hopefully gets out there as soon as possible because he was definitely exciting to watch. Comment below if you have any questions about his rehab or anything else that I can answer as a physical therapist. And I promise to make more videos on all things Niners. Hit subscribe, that just helps me connect to you guys better. And look forward to talking to you guys more.